for almost 17 years and have been involved in human resources the entire time. Spent some of my time focused on recruitment, and now I'm involved in consulting, where I help our clients with various consulting matters related to HR. I have seen a lot with regards to recruitment and retention, and definitely know the importance of retention on an organization, and I'm very happy to be speaking with you today. So what we are going to do to start off with is look at the learning objectives. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the importance of stay interviews. We're then going to review some tools for workforce retention that will probably work for almost any organization. I've tried to make them a little bit more specific to dealership type of an industry, but they are relevant for other industries as well. And through that, you're going to be able to identify opportunities for ongoing skill development of your staff, which is really, really important when it comes to retention. Before we get started, though, I want to kind of cover some statistics so that you have an understanding of why it is important to retain staff. I took a look at a few different surveys and studies that were out there and found out that within dealership industries, there is a high percentage of turnover. Right now, turnover stands at about 39% for dealership employees and about 72% for salespeople within that industry, which is extremely high. When I took a look at the job opportunities that are available, there are 15,094 jobs posted on Indeed with the word dealership in either the title or the job description. And what that means is that there are a lot of opportunities out there. Everyone is looking for professionals within the dealership world. And the average cost of hiring a new employee is $10,000. And that includes the time spent on trying to find someone, whether that's interview time, the time spent on putting the job posting out there, reviewing resumes, as well as those expenses that you may not even notice, such as the impact it has on morale, the overtime that you might have to pay to other employees to cover for someone who is not in a position, and those types of things. And when you have turnover as high as it is within this industry, that $10,000 per employee can really add up. So what's the solution? Well, first you want to hire the right people, and then you need to retain them. So it's all about a focus on talent, and that is what we call employees. Employees truly are the talent part of your organization, and that's really what we're going to talk about here today. So to start off with, we're going to talk about something that's completely free to do that can oftentimes have a huge impact on the retention of your employees, and they are called stay interviews. And I know that a lot of times when an employee is leaving the organization, they go through what we call an exit interview. We try to find out why are they leaving and what could we have done differently in order for them to stay. And with a stay interview, the focus is more on doing an interview with your existing staff, your top performers who you want to stay, meeting with them regularly and finding out how things are going. Typically, it only takes about 30 minutes to have this type of a conversation. And if you decide to do stay interviews, you'll want to make sure that you let your employees know in advance that you just want to get together with them to see how things are going. Stay interviews are very inexpensive because you're not having to pay to post a position or recruit. It's literally just taking your time to meet with your employees and find out how things are going. Some of the questions that you could ask in your stay interview are on this list. And basically what you're looking for are the same things that you would look for in an exit interview, except you're kind of approaching it from the more positive perspective of, hey, we want you to stay, so tell us what you think. What's it going to take to make you stay? You're asking them about what it is that they love about their work environment, what they may like least about the work environment or their job. You want to find out things like what would make their job more satisfying or how they want to be recognized. You might want to determine what motivates them. You may think it's money and they may think it's benefits. And so finding out those things can be pretty imperative. When you're doing your stay interview, you're asking these questions in a conversational manner. And once you have finished asking the questions, you want to make sure that you summarize what you heard the employees say. That way they get it in their head that you truly understand what it is that they're looking for and what's going to make them want to stay on with your organization. If there are any action items that you can follow up on or things that you can do as a result of the conversation you had, let the employee know what those action items are and perhaps a timeline for when you plan to get it accomplished. And then you want to make sure that you thank the employee for their time and their input. State interviews are a great way to keep your finger on the pulse of what's really going on within your employee base and figure out if some of the things that you're spending your time on are not effective in retaining your talent. You want to make sure that the time and effort and money that you spend to retain employees is time, money, and effort well spent, and state interviews can help you figure out what those things are. Next, I want to talk about several of the current trends for retention tactics that employers can employ in order to retain their talent. I tried to be a little bit specific on these with regards to dealerships, but all of these still fall within the realm of best practices that companies can put out there in order to retain top talent. The first thing we're going to talk about is recruitment and making it a priority. We'll then talk about onboarding and orientation. We'll talk about compensation. We'll then discuss empowering management and allowing employees to grow from mentor or coaching relationships. We'll talk about ongoing training and skill development, flexibility, wellness, which doesn't just include health, it also includes your physical, emotional, and financial type needs that employees have. And then also talking about creating a work environment that employees want to be part of. So let's start with recruitment. This is where it all begins. And typically within organizations, recruitment tends to be the side job of several individuals within the organization. What is most beneficial though is to make sure that you actually have set recruitment as a priority. If you have a lot of turnover in your organization, you need a specific person assigned to recruitment. And that recruitment assignment includes developing a process that has the right elements that are going to showcase your dealership or your company and the position that you are trying to fill. So some of the things that you can do with regards to creating a great recruitment process include making your job posting interesting and more in tune with the job and the work environment. Most people will post a job description on Indeed or on LinkedIn or Career Builder or whatever job board they might be using. Job descriptions are great for HR purposes in setting expectations and holding employees accountable to their job responsibilities, but job descriptions do not make good job postings. Employees want to take a look at a job and they will apply for those that are more interesting. So I challenge you to really think about your job postings and ensure that you are posting your positions in a way that actually makes them appealing to people and make them a position that people might want to actually apply for. Some good factors in there is to include a little bit of information about the company and why someone would want to join your organization, about the position and some basics on what the person will be doing on a daily basis, and then the qualifications that you actually have to have in order to be successful in that role. When you post the position, you then want to make sure that you identify standard interview questions to ask of every single candidate to determine if they actually have the skills and qualifications that are needed in order to be successful in the job. You may ask some additional questions of a candidate based on their responses or based on their resume, but you want to make sure that you have standard interview questions so that every single candidate is asked about their skills and qualifications. And that way you can compare apples to apples and identify the best candidate for the position. You want to make sure you include your top performers in your interview process and allow them the opportunity to sell your dealership in the position. Top performers will attract other top performers. You can't just pick the person who is available at the time of the interview. You need to make sure that you are including great people within your organization to be the ones to meet with candidates, get them excited about the job, tell them what it's really like there at your organization, so that the candidate then can picture themselves working with those individuals and really can identify your dealership or your company as the place they want to work. You want to also make sure that you communicate with the candidates that you're interested in. If you like someone, you need to let them know that immediately. Whether you call them the same day of the interview, you tell them during the interview that you are very interested in moving forward. If you do not communicate with a great candidate, they will be snatched up by someone else. And the turnover within the industry and the number of open positions that are available for them to choose from will ensure that they are gone if you wait too long. I highly encourage everyone to conduct a background check on every candidate that you plan to hire. You can make your offer contingent on successful completion of the background check, but make sure that you get that background check taken care of prior to actually bringing them on board. Background checks can verify previous employment, it can verify criminal history, it can also verify credit if that is something that is pertinent to the job. You want to make sure that you are getting the person who actually showed up in the interview and not just a rosy colored picture of that person. You want to know what their background is like and that everything that they have claimed is accurate and true. And finally, you want to make sure that you respond in a timely manner to candidates that you don't want to pursue. When you are in the auto industry, there are lots of different options for consumers to choose. And if you have a candidate who has a bad experience during their recruitment process, they will badmouth your particular dealership or your particular company, which could mean lost revenue for you. So make sure that you are creating a positive experience, even for those candidates that you don't want to pursue, so that they have a favorable impression of you. And one thing that you can do in order to make that happen is to respond in a timely manner to candidates that you choose not to pursue. Create an email signature that is your standard rejection, and just utilize that to email candidates to let them know whether you want to pursue them or not. It really can make a difference. And again, I cannot emphasize enough, you have to make recruitment a priority and not just a side job. All right, with recruitment, after you've interviewed individuals, you want to make sure that you choose the best person for the job and not just a warm body that can sit in a seat. All right, you want to make sure that you are making your decision based on their experience, on their skill set, on their communication skills and ability to work as a team. You may want to hire them for customer service skills or technical capabilities. If people need good problem-solving skills, make sure that the candidate you hire has good problem-solving skills or math skills. You also want to make sure that you hire based on attitude and professionalism, especially in this industry. And also make sure that you are hiring somebody who is a strong culture fit or a work environment fit, which means, do they fit in with your dealership's values and goals? Are they going to be a missing puzzle piece to your team? And will it be a cohesive team? You have to consider these types of factors. Otherwise, you are wasting your time hiring someone who may not be a fit with your organization. And the end goal is always to hire someone who's actually going to make your team better than it already is. Once you've hired someone, now you have to get them on board and get them orientated. So they have to go through some sort of orientation. So here is polling question number 2. How much time do you allow for new hire orientation? And your options are no time, they need to start right away, 1 hour to complete the required paperwork, 2 to 4 hours to go through benefits and paperwork, a full day to go through benefits and various trainings, or more than 1 full day. Okay, well, I am very glad to see that no one selected no time, because that truly should never be an option. And I'm also very, very happy to see that the majority of folks are giving at least 1 day, if not more, to onboarding and orientation. We are going to talk about the importance of onboarding. Onboarding is that period that happens prior to orientation. It's what happens after they have accepted the offer and before they actually start. So during that time, you need to set up the basics. And it is really, really important that you focus on onboarding in order to create a great first day experience for this person that you just hired. During that time, you're going to set up all of their company contact details. So email address, phone number, that kind of thing. You're going to set up their workspace. You're going to make sure they have the right equipment, and that equipment includes all of the software applications that they may need to utilize in their position. If there's a parking pass or a building access that they are required to have, you'll want to make sure you get those set up. If they need business cards, you can order those. You'll want to add them to distribution lists and get them added onto standard meetings that take place for individuals in their position. You'll want to put together their training agenda and make sure that the people who are involved in training are available to train the person. And then if you happen to have any company or logo wear, it's a great idea to send them that in advance so that they can actually wear it either their first week of employment, or at least have something that says, hey, they're really excited that I'm part of their team. Then you want to make sure that once you have those things set up, that you communicate with them regularly until they start. And this can be even more difficult when you hire somebody who isn't scheduled to start for a couple of months. You have to put a tickler on your calendar to make sure that you reach out to those people on a regular basis. No news is not good news in the minds of people today. We are completely overboard on communication methods and styles, and so we have to make sure that we are constantly communicating with them so they know that we have not forgotten them. It's really important to also set the expectation for their first day and let them know what to bring, where to park, and how to dress. Those three things are extremely important. They want to know who they're going to ask for orientation, how are they supposed to dress. If you do an employee photo that day, you'll want to make sure you let them know that so they can wear something that they want to have in their employee photo or their badge ID. You also want to make sure that you let them know the proper documentation to bring for their I-9 form. And I recommend just sending them the list of applicable documents that are included with the I-9 form so that they can choose whichever modes of identification they have available. But communicate with them and let them know what to expect on that first day. For orientation, a minimal orientation agenda should include the following things. If they are eligible for benefits, you need to cover benefits that first day and allow them some time to actually enroll in benefits. And if they are benefit eligible, that means that you need to tell them that they should bring information about their dependents. So name, social security number, addresses, birth dates, contact information, so that they can complete their paperwork. If they are benefit eligible, benefits may be one of the reasons why they chose to join your particular organization over another. So you need to make sure you go through the benefits with them and allow them time to get set up. You also want to make sure that you go through policies. So set expectations on what you as an employer have of them as an employee. And also when reviewing policies, let them know who the go-to people are for various things that come up in the work environment. If you have a policy manual, go through the policy manual and have them sign and date an acknowledgement form so that you can document that, yes, they were provided the policies on their first day of employment. You want to make sure that you include a tour and introductions so that they can get to know their team members. If you can, schedule lunch with the team, have that preset so that everybody is ready to go at the right time, and allow them the opportunity to meet their team members. Take care of all of the paperwork that includes your I-9, W-4, direct deposit, confidentiality agreement, employment agreement, benefit forms, as I mentioned earlier. Get all of that paperwork taken care of. Allow them some time to set up their own workstation. So if you have supplies, office supplies in a certain area, show them where the office supplies are and give them about 30 minutes or so to just go set up their workstation the way that they want it. Set expectations. You can cover a lot of that during your policies, but if there are specific departments' expectations, go through those with them. Identify their go-to person, and I highly recommend assigning a peer to a new hire so that they have that person to go to whenever they have questions about anything that they've learned in those first couple of days. And then make sure that your orientation includes position-specific training, the hands-on training for how they're going to do their job. And if that involves some sort of software training, make sure you include that as well. And then finally, any company training. If there are legally required trainings that you have going on, I highly recommend preventing harassment in the workplace as a required training. There may be other forms of training that are required for your particular industry, so make sure you include those. This, if you do it properly, allows an employee to feel like, number one, you were ready for them to join your organization, you are organized and well set up, and it also will allow them to feel like they made the right decision in leaving their previous employer and coming to work for you. If you do not put the right emphasis on onboarding and orientation, you may have a new hire start off feeling like they may have made the wrong choice in joining your dealership or your company. So I highly recommend, putting the right amount of effort in this area. Orientation day is information overload day. So just be available to answer questions for them down the road. And usually that go-to person can assist them, but as their supervisor, manager, HR professional, you may want to just let them know to contact you as well. The next thing we're going to talk about is pay a fair wage. And I know this is a hot topic, especially within the auto industry. But when we talk about paying a fair wage, a couple of things that we really need to make sure we address. The first thing is that you have to be aware that if you are hiring college graduates, today's college graduate is earning about $50,000 or more on average per year. And I know that number is staggering, but it is what it is. That is from a lot of research that has been done. And having steady and reliable income is really, really important to new college grads because most of them are averaging over $37,000 in student debt. So if your starting wage is $31,000 a year, it is highly unlikely that you are going to be able to attract a new college grad because their student debt far outweighs what they will make in a year. And they are looking for stability in compensation. All right. The other thing to keep in mind with paying a fair wage is that you do have to be aware of pay equity laws that are now in place that require you to pay employees fairly and not based on gender. You are paying for the job that is being performed as opposed to whether they are male or female. And I think it seems pretty archaic that we still have to have these kinds of conversations, but it is against the law, and it is really, really important to point out that pay equity is really important. All right, one thing that I identify as a great way to retain individuals is to be transparent and honest about true earning potential. If only 5% of your salespeople will earn $100,000 a year, and 70% of your salespeople earn $60,000, which includes their commissions, be upfront with job candidates and new employees about the real earning potential. Don't try and lure them in by saying, oh, you could earn up to $100,000 a year, right? Be realistic with them. Let them know, hey, in your first year, your base wage is this. You have the potential to earn up to $60,000. Or in your dealership, if the earning potential is only $50,000, be honest and upfront about that. Because the fact is, if they don't hit that $100,000 in their first year, even if you've told them it may take several years, if they don't hit it in that first year, they are going to leave. The only thing that they're hearing when you are talking with them is, I can earn $100,000. And when they don't get that $100,000, they are going to leave. So be transparent and honest. The other thing with paying a fair wage is you should review your compensation regularly to ensure that you are paying fairly for the industry, market, and the position. And there are various compensation studies that are out there that you can utilize. I also, as an HR consultant, do a lot of compensation studies, and I base mine on industry, market, and position to provide pay ranges for organizations to utilize. So when it comes to paying a fair wage within this industry, commission-only pay plans are outdated. And that seems to be the majority of pay plans that are out there for auto dealerships. I would like to encourage you to consider moving to a base plus commission structure. So employees would rather make a guaranteed salary of $50,000 with the potential for bonuses up to $80,000 than stay on a commission-only plan with the remote potential to earn over $100,000 a year. We are dealing with a different generation of individuals who have different focuses, and the old way of looking at things at auto dealerships is not the same as the way the newer generations are looking at things. They need that stability and compensation and are not as willing to move to a commission-only plan. You also want to make sure that you include all forms of compensation available to the employee and specific details regarding the percentage or money potential. So if you are a base plus commission, let them know what that base plus commission is and what it truly looks like and how it is paid out and when it is paid out. You want to make sure that you are communicating all of the specific details. And you want to make sure that you set expectations for employees so that they know what they're being paid to do. So having job descriptions and sitting down with people and explaining that, hey, as an accountant, you're responsible for handling these financial types of transactions, and here is what you're being paid to do that. Service technicians, you are responsible for repairing and maintaining vehicles and getting them back to the customer quickly. And by doing that, this is what you are being paid. And salespeople, you are responsible for selling cars, promoting and selling the add-ons, and assisting the customer with finding the right product for them. And when you do that, here's what you can expect. And the thing is, if employees do their job well, and they will have the potential to earn a higher wage. If they don't do their job well, they may be placed on a performance improvement plan or potentially terminated, right? So setting expectations and letting employees know what you expect for the wage that you are paying is a great way of retaining employees, because those who are top performers will do what you are asking them to do plus more. They will then earn more, and that will help to retain them. We tend to spend an awful lot of time focused on our lower performers, and it's just like pounding sand. It's not going to help you retain. So you want to make sure that you are focused on those types of behaviors that will keep those top performers staying with you. And I know this is really small, but I wanted to give you an example of something that you could utilize as a tool to help explain to employees what their total compensation package entails. Total reward sheets are a phenomenal way for a company that has a lot of commissions or bonuses that they pay out, or pays for a large portion of employees' bonuses or professional education or those types of things. This is a great way to actually show employees how much you are actually spending on them as an employee, right? So in this example, you have John Smith. His base compensation is $52,000. He made $15,000 in commissions, so his total compensation was $67,000. But on top of that, as an employer, you put $1,000 towards his retirement plan. You paid for his medical insurance, his dental insurance, his life insurance. He has a flexible spending account or a health savings account, and you are paying for his parking. All right, so in this example, you've got all those things, and all of those benefits add up to an additional $8,000. So while he is taking home $67,000, what you are really paying him is close to $76,000. He needs to know that. He needs to know the things that you are paying behind the scenes that he may not be aware of or has forgotten since he went through orientation. Another thing that you can put on your total reward sheet is how much they actually are being paid for vacation and holiday hours. If your employees accrue a lot of holiday hours, you'll want to put those in there. And if they accrue a lot of vacation, you put that in there as well. And you just take their annual comp divided by 2,080, multiply it by the number of PTO hours or holiday hours that they accrue. And that is how much, that's the salary equivalent. So while you paid $52,000 for his base comp, $4,500.75 was actually in PTO hours, right? So it's good for them to know that as an employer, you are giving them a lot, and that a lot more goes into their compensation. The next thing I want to talk about is empowering your managers. Now, when it comes to managers, who do you typically promote into a management level role? Well, usually it's your top performer. And who should you promote into a management level role? Your top performer who actually has people management skills. That is going to make a huge difference. And in a lot of situations, they're not the same person. So promoting someone just because they are a great performer into a manager level role may not be an actual good retention tool. Number one, you promote them into this management role, they're not good with people as a manager. Therefore, they struggle with things like performance evaluations, having difficult conversations with employees, setting expectations and then making employees follow through on those, the administrative work that goes into people management. So they start to dislike their role, and all of the employees that report to them dislike reporting to them. And so that creates a lot of discord within the work environment that you thought you were doing a positive thing by promoting them, but in essence, when you do it, it has a negative effect on everyone involved. You really need to focus on promoting people into people management roles who actually have people management experience. When you promote someone into a management level position, make sure that you give them the training that they need to transition from employee to manager. So any soft skill training on dealing with employee issues, any technical training that they now need on processes or technology that are now a new part of the job, you want to make sure that you get them that training as quickly as possible. You also want to keep your managers up to date with company strategic initiatives, goals, and processes, and let them be the ones to share the details with direct reports. Most employees prefer to deal with their direct manager than they do with somebody who is much higher up in the company. The higher ups in the company make them a little bit more nervous. And so having that person who is a little bit closer to their level can really help to retain employees. The other thing you want to do with your managers is allow them to actually make decisions without going to their boss or their boss's boss. If you promote someone into a management level position, give them the authority to make decisions, right? If they are your top performer, they've been informed properly and have been trained properly on the dealership goals and processes, they're going to make decisions that are the best for the company. You just need to give them that power. So delegate some of the power to them, allow them to make decisions, and really let them just be a manager, which is what you've promoted them into being. Another retention tool is to provide mentoring and coaching opportunities for your employees. Employees enjoy working with and for individuals who share their knowledge and experience. So allow those top performers to work with new employees and show them the ropes. And encourage managers to meet with employees regularly to ensure they understand the best approach to handling situations. And next, be on the lookout for employees who are struggling. Rather than waiting for them to resign, do something to get them back on the right track. Mentoring and coaching means taking individuals who may not be at that manager level role, but have good performance skills. They've been a top performer. They know what's going on in the organization, and allowing them to interact with the other employees to help the other employees be more like them, right? The employees have somebody they can go to when they have a question, or if the coach or the mentor sees an employee struggling, can go out there, sit down with them, and talk to them about the expectations and how they might approach a particular situation. Having coaching and mentoring active in your work environment really can be very, very beneficial to employee retention. What it does is it creates growth opportunities for those top performers by giving them more responsibility and preparing them for a future management role. It's kind of helping them develop those people management skills and really allows you the opportunity to see who might be a good people manager. It also allows employees to interact with one another in a professional manner and builds camaraderie, right? Employees who spend more time with coworkers in a positive manner tend to be more dedicated and loyal. And it makes it tough to leave people that you like. So if you can foster this environment that is more mentoring and coaching based, it really makes people think twice about leaving, because that is a rare work environment, especially within the auto dealership industry, where there is a tremendous amount of turnover. Training and ongoing skill development. This is where we're going to have our next polling question. Do you offer training to your employees beyond their first few weeks of training to learn about their job? Okay, great. So it looks like a majority of you are offering training. Offering training is one of the best retention tools there is, because offering training is telling your employees, I value you, I want to help you develop your skills, so I am going to invest in the time, money, and resources of training to make sure that you are the best that you can be. And you get a lot of bang for your buck when you do invest in training, because trained employees will be better employees to serve your customers, which will affect your bottom line. All right, so when it comes to training and skill development, some employees come on board and they're natural. Others require some assistance in getting up to speed. Both of those types of individuals need training and opportunities for skill development. All right, so what you want to do is you want to encourage your top performers and managers to develop best practices to share with your new hires and less experienced employees. And one of the least expensive ways that you can actually do this is to do in-house lunch and learns on various topics, where you are utilizing those top performers and managers to facilitate trainings. That you can do industry updates to keep employees up to date on what is going on. You can do a lunch and learn on sales tactics. You can do one on customer service approaches and use recent examples of customer interactions that have come up, some that may have started unfavorably and ended up positively, or even some that may have gone wrong, and use it as a way for everyone to brainstorm how they could better approach that if it pops up again. You can do lunch and learns on new vehicle models. You can talk about deals and discounts and how to use them to sell. You can do lunch and learns on automotive technology, electronics, and computers. More and more, the vehicles are less actual cars and seem like they're more like a computer on the road. And then also you can do lunch and learns on servicing newer vehicle models. So there's a whole host of different lunch and learn topics that you can do that will demonstrate to your employees you care about them and what they know. And in doing so, they will know more and can go out there and do a better job for you. You want to make sure that if you are investing in training, whether it's time and money, that you are picking ones that are beneficial to your employees. And there are a lot of different ways to do external training. External training can come in the form of webinars. Those can, sometimes they cost nothing. Like this one doesn't cost anything. So there are all kinds of different webinars that are out there. You can also do local industry association trainings. There are a lot of different trainings that go on. Oftentimes, those industry association monthly meetings include some component of continuing professional education. So if there's a topic that is coming up at one of those meetings that is relevant to a member of your team or to your particular dealership, send someone to the meeting to learn about it. There are seminars and conferences, and then there are manufacturer trainings and information materials that you can draw from and really create some good content to share with your employees. You want to make sure that if you are investing the resource, that employees are actually coming back and sharing what they learned with their team. So maybe enforce a training write-up where they are required to write up what they learned at the meeting that they could share with others, and either share that at a lunch and learn or share it at a staff meeting. That way you're getting even more bang for your buck. Next, we want to talk about flexibility in the workplace. And flexibility means creating an environment that promotes work-life balance. And it is imperative in order to retain employees, because no one wants to miss events or activities with their family and friends. It's not just millennials or Gen Z folks who don't want to miss things. I'm a Gen Xer, and I don't want to miss things with my family. So this is not a generational thing. It just seems to have become more popular with the millennials and Gen Zers. So people in general will move through various phases of life that change their priorities for a time. Oftentimes when we start in our new career, we are all about work. And then we have a family, or we have a group of friends that we do a lot of things with. We want to travel, we want to do things. We move into a different phase of our life where family becomes more important, and we have to focus on things like raising our children or being at their school events or sporting events. We have parents who pass away or who become ill that we have to take care of. So there are phases of life that employees will go through, and their flexibility with regards to work-life balance will adjust. And if you want to retain employees, you are going to be the employer who is flexible with them and allows them to focus on the appropriate things. If you do that, they will shift their priority back to you when that cycle of their life has passed on. And flexibility can often be different for different employees. It's really important to understand that work-life balance does not mean the same to every single person. It's very different. It's a personal choice. So there are a lot of different ways that you can identify opportunities to create flexibility in your workplace. To start off with, if you have vacation or PTO plans that allow employees to take time off to relax and recharge, actually let employees take the time off and don't begrudge them when they want to. If you offer 2 weeks of vacation time and an employee comes in and wants to take a week of time off, don't make it difficult for them to do so. That is a benefit that you offer as an employer, and trust me, if you give them that week off, they will come back recharged, which is what you want. You can also consider modified work schedules. If it allows, allow employees to come in early and leave early, or come in later and stay later. That may allow someone the opportunity to be available to pick up their children from school or to take care of an ailing parent. You want to make sure that you are allowing that flexibility if it is a possibility within your dealership. You may want to consider doing 10-hour shifts for 4 days a week, or doing rotating work schedules where they work 3 days one week and have 4 days off, work 4 days another week, have 3 days off, working 12-hour shifts. Whatever it is, as long as your shift is covered, try and figure out ways that you can create flexibility for your employees. You may also want to consider part-time schedules. Oftentimes, if employees work under a certain number of hours, they're not benefit eligible. So there's some savings that you can have with hiring part-time individuals, or allow for job sharing, using 2 part-time employees to cover a shift. And whenever possible, utilize technology where it's appropriate to allow employees to work from home on those administrative tasks that they might have. It really has gotten to a point where many of us can do a lot of the components of our job from anywhere. Doesn't matter if we're in the office, at a coffee shop, at home, sitting on a beach. We have the technology in place to be able to do major components of our job. And if a position within your dealership has that flexibility, then you should allow it if that is what an employee is requesting. And by doing so, you will find that employees are far more productive. We're going to talk about wellness benefits. Wellness is actually a combination of mental, physical, spiritual, and financial health. And employers should do everything you can to address each area of wellness with the ultimate goal of improving health, which will reduce your healthcare costs and will improve productivity. And there are some simple things that you can do with regards to wellness. For health benefits, make sure that you are providing benefits at a reasonable cost per the Affordable Care Act, and work with your benefit provider to make sure that you have plans in place that meet your employees' needs. Most of the high deductible plans are very strong in preventative type services, and those are designed to help keep employees well. So talk with your benefit provider about that. The other thing is talk with your provider to find out what other types of things are embedded within your benefit plan. Most employees and employers don't know that within their medical plan, they may have an employee assistance program, which can help employees deal with issues that they might have going on in their personal lives. Most benefit plans now have some sort of teledoc or virtual program, which allows employees instant access to a doctor via technology to either get prescriptions, be diagnosed with basic things like influenza, strep throat, just basic things, ear infections, that kind of thing, and gets them access to medications that can help them without having to go to a doctor, taking the time to go to the doctor, wait in the waiting room, meet with the doctor, then go wait in line at the pharmacy. The teledoc virtual type systems are fantastic, and if your benefit plan has it, I highly encourage you to get the word out to your employees. And then within benefit plans are often gym discounts. A lot of employees go to the gym a lot, and within some of the benefit plans, if you go to the gym enough, they will pay a certain part towards your gym membership. So talk with your benefit providers to find out if your current plan provides any of those. Also, most of the benefit providers out there have wellness mobile apps. And if they do, encourage employees to download and use those apps so that they stay up to date with their benefits. Flex spending accounts. I know Discovery Benefits has a mobile app where employees know at a moment's notice how much they still have left in their dependent care and healthcare flex spending accounts, and can actually pay utilizing their mobile app when they have those out-of-pocket expenses. There are all kinds of different mobile apps out there, and you should encourage employees to utilize them. I have one client who we actually had a meeting where we required every employee to bring their cell phone. The employer pays the entire premium for employee and family coverage. And we told the employees that in order for us to continue doing that, they needed to take a little bit more ownership of their health and their benefits. And so we taught them how to load the apps on their phones so that they would start utilizing the benefits that were available to them. And it was very, very successful. Another thing you can do with wellness is to offer healthy snacks and meal options for employees to enjoy. We certainly love Donut Wednesday and Pizza Friday, but occasionally try and throw some healthy meals in there. Do yogurt parfaits or fruit or cheese sticks and nuts and things of that nature, so that employees are enjoying some of the healthier things. And then for financial wellness, provide access to a student loan financial service company to help employees figure out a plan for paying off their student loan debt. You're not paying a penny by providing them access to it. Eide actually partners with SoFi, which is a great company. We let employees know about it. They contact the SoFi folks, let them know they're an employee of Eide, and they get $300 to put towards their student loan if they sign up with SoFi. And SoFi helps them restructure the debt so that it's not such a huge burden. And when you figure that most students have about $37,000 worth of college debt when they leave, figuring out a way to take care of that debt is weighing heavily on their mind. With wellness, you can do some cool things inside of your office. You can do chair massages during peak times of the year. You can offer flu shots, do health screenings, have yoga before or after work or during lunch breaks, offer weight loss challenges to employees or step challenges using Fitbits. There's all kinds of fun things that you can do to promote wellness and to get your employees involved. The last thing we're going to talk about is creating a work environment that employees actually want to be part of. And to start this off, I have a polling question. Do you feel your culture is one that employees are happy to be part of? Either yes or no, you have some work to do. All right. Well, we do have some individuals who have a great culture, which is awesome. And those of you who have some work to do, no, don't fret. That is something that is very common. Everybody's always trying to work on their culture. When it comes to culture, the work environment you create is really what differentiates you from your competitors. So creating a positive culture is letting your employees know that you care about them. They are your greatest asset, right? So to create a positive culture, know who your employees are, get to know them, encourage people to know, family names, pet names, interests, hobbies, those kinds of things. Talk with them about their career goals and what they want to accomplish, and celebrate their accomplishments and life events. Even if it's hey, the first Wednesday of every month, we're going to celebrate the monthly birthdays with, a Dairy Queen ice cream cake. Everybody loves Dairy Queen ice cream cakes, and, just celebrate. Allow employees the opportunity to get together. Coordinate fun activities for employees to bring them together. So allow social activities to take place, and even promote some of those social activities, whether it's a happy hour or a holiday party or a summer picnic, where you allow family members to come. You want to make sure that their support system is also appreciated, and their support system includes the people at home that they interact with. So include some of those folks in some of your social activities. And then also consider sponsoring team-based activities like softball, bowling tournaments, broomball or basketball. At Eide Bailey in the Minneapolis office, we have a lot of people who do fun runs together. And it's really a great way for people to get together with common interests to do something fun outside of work together. Last, commit to giving back to the communities that you operate in. We are dealing with the millennial and Gen Z folks who have a greater sense of the world than the previous generations have had. And they want to give back and they want to be involved. So create community service opportunities for them, whether that's a community service day where, a portion of your employees go off and take care of different service activities, or just provide opportunities for them to give back to the charitable organizations that they care about. If they want to do the Komen 3-day walk, provide them with the support to do that, and maybe set up a station at the Komen 3-day walk, or at least have some folks there to cheer your employee or your employees on. Allow them the opportunity to give back to the charitable organizations that they care about, though, and that will mean the world to them. So basically with culture is if you tie in all the other components of retention that we've been discussing, you will create a work environment that employees want to be part of. So that includes recruiting the best talent, spending time to getting them on board and oriented with your company, paying them fairly for the job that they do, empowering your managers, providing mentoring and coaching opportunities to them, encouraging training and skill development, allowing flexibility, and including wellness in your day-to-day activities. And if you do all of those different things, you are going to retain your employees. So with unemployment at 3.6%, with turnover exceedingly high, you have to focus on retaining your talent. And with that, are there any questions?
All right, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to use the chat feature, or you can use the Q&A box located on your menu bar. At this time, Lori, there is nothing there.
Okay. I realized that it was a lot of information to go through. And so what I plan to do is to email the presentation to the individuals who are on the webinar so that you have that as a tool to refer back to. And also, if you have any questions after the webinar, feel free to email me and I'd be happy to respond.
Awesome. Okay, well, there are no questions at this time, but thank you to Lori and thank you to all of our participants. We really appreciate it and we hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you.